series. I know that Cloud9 will first pick Ember Spirits, and so it's not just a pick for them, it's also but
AA.
yeah, I was wondering, like, will they ban the AA? I mean, CDC banning Brood and Nightstalker is showing something, right? It's showing they've learned something since ESL, they've adapted that much. Their picks just haven't adapted that much in terms of they're obviously not just ignoring what other people are doing. They're trying to learn what other people are doing and how to deal with it. But their own style seems to be still roughly the same style, and it makes them quite predictable and easy to figure out. And it's not actually there. It's the Darkseer Wyvern. I think that's probably what 143 was thinking about, is the AA or the Wyvern he wants to pick. They're both very coveted supports, and even though he's been playing AA pretty much every game he gets the opportunity to, Wyvern is just that much more of I think a written combo with the Darkseer overall.
Yeah, definitely. And okay, CDEC Tusk Ember. Now into the second ban phase. There are so many heroes that you ban out. I think Ritsu's anti-mage is definitely up there, top tier ban for the second phase. Don't let him get his hands on that, especially when you've got DS, the vacuum back into the Wind Curse from Wyvern.
10 seconds.
Cleave, that Mana Void really could ruin your day. But Spirit Breaker, you know, we've been talking break and both expressed that Spirit Breaker is definitely one of those heroes that you want to try and limit what he can do, especially when you've got relatively mobile heroes. You know, Ember Spirit, sure, you charge him, he remnants away, but your charges can continue. You're still going to have that opportunity.
10 seconds.
Initiate on him, and really, farming and split, which he does at the end of the day.
Yeah, and on top of Spirit Breaker being a good pick and being good against Ember Spirit, Spirit Breaker plus Darkseer, just one of those disgusting combinations when you charge into the Darkseer's lane, whether or not you're dual laning. So definitely a very solid ban by CDC, and if there's one thing that they understand, it's early aggression. I think they have a very good understanding as a team on how teams can be aggressive early on in the lane stage, and they'll want to avoid being weak to any kind of early aggression from Cloud9 themselves.
CDEC is dire again, and this was about a lot. I know you've done a couple of blogs as well about dire / radiant advantage / disadvantages, but CDEC G5, they love the old dire stuff. Yeah, Vega was one of the first teams to kind of catch on to it. But Cloud9 here, they don't seem afraid. They chose Radiant. They chose to go this side. They know what they want, and they're playing to their own strengths. While CDEC seem left in bygone era almost.
It's also, I also feel like it plays into predictability. I think if I'm Cloud9, I also say this team doesn't seem to have adapted much yet. Sorry, they play quite predictably. Their players are quite scripted. If we watch them play at TI, we know how they're going to play here. And actually, if you force them to play Radiant, in some way that actually makes them mix things up a bit. Whereas if you put them on diet in their comfort zone, you're more likely to, have them play into that predictable narrative, which you understand, you've analyzed, you've studied, and you know how to beat.
10 seconds remaining.
Now, Wyvern Darkseer, they've got lots of options. They've got teamfight combo, they've got laning presence, you love it. With Iron Shell, Arctic Burn. Got a lot of ways to go, but up against an Ember Spirit, they're going to go for a Dazzle, so they've got even more teamfight sustain. CDEC could potentially look towards an ancient apparition of their own, There was very popular pick back in China for a long, long time, AA and Silencer were incredibly popular heroes, just global presence. CDEC's going for it. Ember Spirit AA, pretty good combo as well, we saw it from Cloud9 in the last game, and you know that C9 aren't likely to be going for it, they've got their support heroes. I'm not going to completely rule it out because stranger things happen. But instead, they stick with Alina.
It's like I said. I mean, just compare the bans on the pick. CDC's bans are all quite well adjusted actually to what's happening right now in Western meta. Their picks are just same old. Their picks, and by the way, this is not to say that their picks are bad. In fact, it's quite possible. I think that the playstyle from TI and their picks from TI are still all legitimate and good. The concern is more that just makes preparation against them that much easier. And I've always been a proponent of the view that if you're good at playing a certain way, the fact that enemy teams know you're going to play that way is not necessarily a reason not to play that way. It's just the sheer scale of it here, where you've just been a runner-up at the international. It's not just like, teams know how you play. Teams are forced to study the way you play and figure out ways to counter it. That's what, after international, that's what happens every year. The teams that place right at the top, everyone else now studies the game and thinks of ways to beat playing that way. So it's just kind of done part of their work for them when you're in that particular unique position and you refuse to adjust. But it will be the Dragon Knight this time for Cloud9 instead of for CDEC. Brax will almost certainly be playing that in the mid lane, and Ritsu Zero will be last this time instead of first for Cloud9.
Someone in chat called this like a minute and a half, 2 minutes ago. Like at the start of the second back phase, someone called Brax DK. He did say that there was going to be DK AA incoming, but he got half of it right. So that's a good shout, and CDEC do go for the Ancient Apparition themselves. Now, we still don't entirely know where Tusk and Lina are going, whether it's going to be mid Lina. Kind of expect the safe lane Ember Spirit from aggressive, right? It's less of a cheeky hero, more of an aggressive hero. On Lina could be good, but what do you expect from those three heroes in particular?
I think you're probably right about aggressive on Ember Spirits. I think that I'd probably expect XZ to play the Tusk this game.
Yep.
Ancient Apparition seems like a Q hero to me. It doesn't really seem like a Garda hero, which would then put Shiki on Lina. But it's possible that Garda could play A. I mean, I imagine Garda could play any hero, just like all the other Chinese supports, and Q could just play Lina and they could still pick a mid. I was looking towards that sniper just because I've seen that's the kind of Shiki's like the hero that he was playing quite a bit at ESL. He played it before the international, though not much at the international. And it's certainly not a bad game for snipers, since there's not a whole lot of catch to sort of gap close and get onto him, which is usually the weakness of the hero. The concern would be to run a sniper with the Ember Spirits, that neither of your cores wants to be like in the thick of things in the front line, and that puts a lot of pressure on your Tusk. So for that reason, I probably wouldn't expect it, and I'd probably say it's Shiki, Lina. We're just looking for another support party for CDEC.
They've let Cloud9 have anti-mage if they want.
10 seconds remaining.
Su can get his AM here if he wants. Banned, not taken out. And CDEC, I agree with you. I think Garda is going to be the last pick, and he's going to have something, that roams around and does stuff. Whether it be, a Shadow Demon, which he's loved in the past, and an Ogre, something like that, just to go around and make things happen. He has to be this hero that sets up for all the lanes, right? For the Ember, for the AA, for the Lina, and for the Tusk. Be able to control runes and Garda things. Go and ward up. Go and play aggressively. Play. Cloud9 they're thinking long and hard about this one. Mage not insta-picked. A little bit worried about the stun and lockdown potential here with Chains, Ice Blast. Inability to save him outside of Grave.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure. I don't know which... what is the extent of Ritsu's hero pool? Does he have a limited hero pool? Could he just play any hero? Like, is 1437 thinking, what's the best hero here? What's the hero here for Ritsu? I don't actually know, so it's tough to say. I mean, Spectre's also in the pool, and it's going to be a Storm Spirit, which does play into that style of we see Ritsu on Anti-Mage, Ember Spirits a lot. Storm Spirit's actually a similar kind of hero. And I've definitely heard people say that since Storm Spirits, it's maybe more suited to that one position than the mid lane than it ever was before, because it's not really that seriously nerfed if you're playing it in a kind of super farm, dominate with items style. Maybe a bit more nerfed if it needs to be that tempo controller early on.
I agree with you. Now what we're looking at. Again, seen, 3 or 4 games now out of 4 games we've cast, where the Chinese have reverted to older draft styles, gone with more standard lineups with a ton of stuns. I think that's the biggest thing out here from the Chinese team, is that they love picking stuns. They very rarely play into that. They don't go hyper aggressive, they don't go kills, and then they also don't bait out towers, which I think European and NA teams are very well. Baiting out tier 1 towers in TPing to defend. Something that has been very attentive to these teams, but you see the XZ trap.
Okay, this is new. Offlane Enchantress is something that's been trending in the West, actually, especially in North America. Yesterday, I watched, I think it was Bulba playing it, maybe the day before. I don't believe that I've ever seen a Chinese player play Offlane Enchantress.
Slash's Way has penetrated from Europe to NA to China.
Do you think there's people translating Slash's Way videos? Because actually, one of the articles I wrote, there must be, right? Because
I know for a fact that people translate Pyrian Flax's videos into Chinese.
Well, there you go. Yeah. I'm not a huge deal, and I wasn't a huge deal a year ago, and I wrote an article during TI4, which I got told was translated for SKMS, so I guess there's a lot of stuff being translated, and very likely, actually, this is directly creditable to Slash's Way.
Well, there's a massive audience over there. When you think about it, there's already in Europe, or in the West anyway, YouTube channels and websites that restream and technically illegally or whichever way you want to look at it, they rip content from in-game or from stream up. Like there was some Dota 2 Tournament Hub channel, and they just take BTS, JD, Boondock, any tournament they can get, they rip it from the stream and they put it straight up onto their channel, and they get hundreds of thousands of subs. Thousands. And they get it because they just, amalgamate. They have this one go-to stop, all of that content. And if you're that person in China, you've got a much bigger audience, and you're translating it into Chinese. You've got the comedy, you've got all the sort of premier content you want. It's a big deal out there. But he did some funny little move forward, and I don't know what he was looking for.
What is do you know what Slash's Way item build, especially at the start, is on Enchantress? Because I was looking at Exit and he started with the Orb of Venom, and then like after 5 seconds he sold it and decided, actually, I'm not going Orb of Venom.
I think it was circlets and branches, I'm pretty sure. And then you go like Brace and Null to Tread's Drums or something like that. Or an urn, I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen it. But it's stats, it's very heavily stats based and go untouchable.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I don't know if you remember, this is like a huge throwback, but really long ago in Dota 1, like long, like not even recent Dota 1, there was a stage where Lich was a mid-hero a lot, and then people started picking Enchantress to counter Lich. That's like the last time I remember Enchantress being like picked as a solo hero. But it was like Lich is spamming you and you just cast heal and then he can't spam you.
Oh my goodness. Well, Garda is down here as well. Tusk Enchantress dual offlane. Those where it pauses, like, what the hell is this, honestly? What are they doing?
He's bought Orb of Venom now. She picked it up at the side shop, after all.
How do you deal with this? Like, Storm can't get last hits. Storm cannot get in here. Attack range 550 over on your Enchantress. Soul Spirit. God, 480. Arctic Burn already used by SVG there, so Garda, with his Ice Shards coming off cooldown in 10 seconds time, way before that 40 seconds of that Arctic Burn, gonna stop the pull through. Gonna stop the stack.
This is now a game where I feel like CDEC could start ahead in all 3 lanes. At the moment, Brax is doing decently in that mid lane, but he certainly can't pose any threat to Shiki, whereas if Garda goes missing, suddenly Brax is maybe under threat himself. On the other 2 lanes, I think the better of the farm just goes to CDEC almost certainly. Definitely in this aggressive dual lane, Enchantress, Tusk lane, it's just Ritsu's getting nothing.
One last hit and that's it. How's mid doing though? Brax DK 7-1. Elena 9-1. It's pretty even, even as it can be for now. Breathe Fire found out with the Dragon Slave as well. The Radiant Courier, a little bit of a mosey up the top lane with a Soaring Recipe. Oh, Q 437. This battle is going to be risky for you. Actually getting the better of Q here as he hits level 2 as well. Gets the poison touch down, and the damage is pretty hefty out to the Ancient Apparition who backs himself. Key. Bounty Rune is there for the taking. Goes and denies it. There's 1437's in on this. To get that little poison touch out again. Garda, Invis Rune at bot, that's the big one. Look for the kill on the Storm. You are low on HP though, so a couple of Remnants could potentially turn this back around, but he's level 1. Storm is still level 1.
Storm Spirit.
Have you, well, they could maybe kill him with the Invis if they get the right positioning with the Ice Shards. But have you watched the game where Ritsu has like an extremely bad start? Because I don't actually think I have. I'm sure there must have been some game where it's happened, but I don't remember seeing it.
I don't think I have. I don't remember it anyway. I'm pretty sure I have. I cast a lot of these guys for the MLG qualifiers leading up into. There must have been a game where he was anti-mage and he got screwed over in lane by an aggro tri-lane or something and came back, but... No, this is worse than rough. This is being demolished.
Well, it's a 1-for-1 trade in the top lane as both the cores die actually, both supports living. Probably a better trade for the Darkseer who gets the first blood himself before getting down. But yeah, this is Ritsu's now in the jungle, and look, God has come over here to actually steal the creeps from him. Probably he's actually gonna try kill him. I think he can kill him.
Experience and go for the kill. Not gonna find it. Ritsu walks himself away.
There's a particular skill as a carry player to dealing with this level of adversity. That's what I think. Altogether different skill to any other skill. And some carry players really just don't deal well with being completely shut down early on. And others actually just completely take it in their stride and say, team's getting a good trade-off, I'll do what I need to do, I'll catch up when I can. It's something that's hero sensitive. I feel like Storm Spirit is maybe one of the worst heroes to have such a terrible start with. I mean, if he gets space at some point in time, once he's got levels, he'll be able to farm his way back into the game. But I don't know, man. The narrative in my head when it comes to Ritsu is like, he just like decides how the game goes. Things just go well for him. He's just like perfect and has the right build and does the right things, and seems like he has no control of this game. Look at Enchantress's level. Enchantress is level 5, he's level 2. When Xed hits level 6,
He's dead.
There's
Oh, speaking of
Mid lane.
dead, Brax are mid. Shards don't come out in time. Shiki with the DD rune, there's the shards. Brax gonna get clipped over to the side. They've got Dragon Slave in a couple of seconds time, right? Brax, juke. He gets to the side. Shiki doesn't find the kill.
the ice shot's not quite catching him there, even though they damaged him, and that's actually one of the rare times. I mean, God is normally just like the king of ice shots, so not gonna happen too often.
If the Winter Wyvern can stack up a ton of camps, and I mean an absolute shit ton of camps, then Storm has something to fall back on, right? The fact is, Winter Wyvern has to stay on lane to keep the Storm alive and stop this Enchantress from demolishing him. Treads Orb of Venom, already up. For that Enchantress, Enchant plus heal build as well. Really rough, really rough. Brax surviving mid lane is a pretty good deal, but at level 6, with that Laguna Blade up, Brax is going to have a rough time. Pretty interesting build as well. You know, often we see the DK's mid skip over the Dragon Tail at the early stages and go for Dragon Blood. But he's gone for I don't want to say an early point, but he's gone for that one value point in Dragon's Tail. It's time. Like, is he looking for kills? Is it just stun up Valina so she can't chase him down? It feels more counteractive aggression from CDEC than it does playing aggressively from his own hands.
Gorda chasing after SVG, but they'll remember from last game that you don't really kill Wyvern with ice shards. He's got the Orb of Venom.
Though. Over the shards we go. Oh god, XZ, one impetus, that's all it takes. Q is joined in here as well.
So, I try to make it clear last game, I don't think the issue, even though we're commenting on CDC just doing the like old picks, I don't think that's why they lost last game necessarily. I think they were just behind from the start. Oh, this is 1 for 3/7's death for sure. He's got a grave, but he's not actually getting out of it, he's delaying the inevitable.
Turn around, poison touch, do everything you can. Damn it.
The big issue for CDC last game is that they're a team that thrives on aggression, and they started the game behind, and they were just behind from the start and stayed behind, and it might be a very different story here. Firstly, they have gone for a slightly different pick with the Slashers Ways Enchantress, but also they're starting ahead. They're the ones with the power to put the pressure, to be aggressive, and speaking of aggression, Ritsu's being found out here. I don't think that Garda threatens him on his own, but he'll just happily share the experience, stand around. Or not. Maybe not. Maybe he won't do that. He's decided he needs to go heal, get some mana.
It's one camp. He doesn't care. It's one camp. Let the Storm have it. Give him some false sense of security. Because up at top lane, Brax, he's looking, he's hunting, he wants aggressive. There's a Remnant over to the side, and he's away. He's gone. You're not going to catch him this early.
Yeah. So, just like in the previous game, sneaky little Ember Spirits causing a lot of trouble. There's a smoker nearby Tusk and Lena, but they're actually smoking in 2v4.
Fine, SVG's dead. Oh, Light Strike Array, yeah, there we go. Laguna Blade, not even needed to finish it, as SVG heals himself up. Ted comes in, for the last hit, he TPs, walks over, impetus, pow, he's gone. Left Storm alone at bottom lane, but they're not transitioning into a push up at top.
Brax threatening a bit of aggression there in the mid lane, but it's not actually going to commit. And it looks like XZ, rather than just sitting on the lane shutting down Ritsu, has just said, fine, you know, you can eventually get his level 6. Well, you know who hasn't aggressive? Aggressive's come down here, he's going for that solo kill, and I don't think he's strong enough to quite do it.
Maybe if he had one more level in chains or something like that, he could go and dive in for that kill. SVG, he was there with the blast, the cold embrace if it was needed at the last second as well. Look though from the side, XZ, Enchantress, oh, diving under the tower again, aggressive. He's caught in place here, the cold embrace heals up Ritsu, and this Ember Spirit, is he gonna die here? Chains in a couple of seconds, they turn back onto SVG. Chains up to hold him in place. No, just forcing him back so there's turn left to come out of Cloud9.
Again, the second attempt, same thing. Aggressive had like tiny bit more damage in any way. Storm went extremely low before being healed by Ivan, but forced the TP out, and still not level 6, by the way, Ritsu. Even after being given that space when the Enchantress went roaming around the map.
Got his Soul Ring now, he can farm the jungle pretty freely. Scary stuff though, the Storm Spirit. Said, if there's any hero or any player that loves to set the tempo and snowball and get the farm rolling, it's Ritsu and Storm Spirit as a general. He'll farm, he'll keep flowing for himself, while Brax pressure onto the mid-tier 1, Shiki comes in. Tread's already up. I wonder what build this Lina goes for, because we saw maybe the other game go Yule Shadowblade, and really fall flat on his face a little bit. Here against the Storm Spirit, oh god, is Too starting to creeps. But he was starting to be a hero again. I think Shiki against the Storm, against the Darkseer, even a Dazzle. Shadow Rush, the Shadowblade Rush build has so much credence behind it, but he's got the Stages Mask, so we're going to be the Yule Scepter. Down a bot lane, SVG flies over the trees, and way to safe.
Yeah, I think Yule's is the standard Shiki build. I'd be surprised if he doesn't go for it. Meantime, interesting to see that Exit is already heading in the direction of an Orchid, which is going to cause that much more trouble for just about everyone actually on the side of Cloud9. Nobody wants to be Orchided this early in the game, and at the rate that his farm progression is going, it's really not going to take that long for him to get to it. Maybe another 5 minutes or so.
I thought he was going for drums. With Robo the Magi, I thought, stats build, tread drums.
Dire's top tower is
Up at top lane, someone we haven't really looked at too much is this MSS Darkseer. Nearly got his mech following boots. One for free here. The fact that he moved Spirit around and looked for kills left and right, and Ember's actually in the Radiant jungle now, aggressive. He likes these little roaming parties, you know, moving off his safe lane to find kills, but this is very extensive.
MSS had 0 deaths last game. Like, cruised through the game. I think he ended with like 4-0 and whatever high number of assists. And he's certainly being set up to have that kind of game again this game. But unfortunately for him, most of his teammates are not. It's also, to phrase it differently, if Ritsu keeps being shut down, it's a big test for Brax, I would say. You know, can he do the heavy lifting? Because I guess in a sense he kind of did last game. You'd say that Brax carried more last game than Ritsu, but at the same time I feel like that game wasn't even won by carry players doing carrying. It was just like snowball from beginning to end. So interesting test for Cloud9 as this game starts to develop. There's not actually a huge lead in terms of gold. There's a pretty big lead in terms of experience, and there hasn't been that much action. Although you do sense that a 5v5 clash or even a 4v4 clash at this point in time probably favors CDEC.
It's difficult either, because we're, I guess right now, yes. In the upcoming like 3 or 4 minutes, I was thinking one of them was getting closer to his level 6, but he's really not. With Winter's Curse vacuum back, at this point now, CDEC definitely have a pretty massive 5v5. But once we get into the period of the game where, you know, Darkseer has items, the Storm Spirit has an item, Dragon Knight, you know, gets to. I'm wondering if that's a casual bracer or if he goes for the tread drums and into like something like that. But got a lot of staying power behind. You know, mech, brave, weave, wave. This AA Ice Blast, again, in every game, we say it's going to be pivotal in the team fights. If it hits 5, you cruise. If it hits no one, you get crushed.
Yeah, and you know what? 1 or 2 rotations into nothing has actually meant Ritsu's, in terms of last hits, he's more or less caught up. In terms of net worth, he's actually ahead of aggressive right now.
Brax. That's troublesome. Hit with the Ice Blast and the Remnants forward. Brax, hey, I think you're dead here, mate. Ember Spirit with the Flame Guard will chip through him. Aggressive though doesn't have any Remnants to jump away, does he? No. On cooldown for a few seconds time, and MSS changed up. A good play there by Aggressive. Maybe. With the stick charges, with the Remnant across, shards will save him. He Remnants there and TP's out the balls on this player. Gets himself to safety.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, and that's Garda getting close to level 6 there as well on the task. She spoke about Winter Wyvern ulti, but just like last game, the task ulti is going to be a pretty big deal as well. And I'm just wondering if moving into this mid-game phase of the game, if we're going to see actual action this game, because last game we really didn't. There was this protracted phase of like both teams dancing around each other and just farming and not really fighting. And in that game, it was really, really good for C9. Whereas in this game, I do think it favors CDC quite a bit because they're going to get to bigger force things items much quicker. Zed in particular on this Enchantress is going to hit his awkward timing really soon. And then all of a sudden, if both teams are sitting around split up farming on the map, anytime Enchantress rocks up in your lane, you die. It's just it, really. I mean, it doesn't matter if Dazzle or Wyvern's covering you, Enchantress will kill the Dazzle or the Wyvern then.
3-7 on this Dazzle, he's less of that aggressive across the map. Light oriented hero and the AA. Now he's on the reactive Dazzle. Save everybody. Save a ton of people here because every single hero has a massive part to play in these upcoming team fight skirmishes. You've got to stay alive to continue farming afterwards. I think that's the most important thing. CDEC, they can kind of afford to use heroes during team fights, you know, as long as they win them overall. Whereas Cloud9, even if they win a team fight, losing heroes like the Storm, like your Dragon Knight, you're losing momentum. You're losing time that's taking towers, taking Roshan, farming up, and keeping that game flowing. Oh god, no. 1437. How many hits does it take to kill you? Not many. Not many. Just one punch.
And I think you're exactly right about Dazzle, and maybe even to an extent Winter Wyvern. I think with Orchid going up soon on Enchantress and Yules on Nina, there's going to be a lot of easy potential for pickoffs. And it's going to be up to the support in Cloud9 to prevent those pickoffs happening. At the same time, there's an Ancient Apparition. So if the pickoff involves an Ice Blast, there's nothing either support can do to actually keep you alive.
Try and Grave.
You can try, but it's you know if the person would be dead straight away and you Grave, it's not going to be enough.
Definitely not easy. Hang on a second. Oh, okay. He steals the golems. They go and punch the tower. Go on, golems, go! Throw the stuns. Go on, throw little stuns out. You've got 4 stuns now. That's wasteful. Wasteful, I tell you. 1 stun goes down to 1437. Ice Blast will follow. Gonna catch a couple here. The max already used though. 1437 healed but dead regardless. Trying to turn and fight on. God, did they get him? Zed on the retreat out, but they get the tier 1, so 1 for 1 there. Where's this Ember Spirit though? I've not seen him farming like all game long. 60 minutes in, he doesn't have BDs yet.
Yeah,
it's
and
bizarre.
It is bizarre actually because Ritsu is now aggressive overtakes them when they make a kill, but then Ritsu overtakes when they're farming because aggressive just doesn't seem to be getting around the map efficiently, getting space when his team's making space for him. And Ritsu actually is doing that. Ritsu's getting all the farm he possibly can. So we'll have to keep our eye on aggressive. It seems like maybe he's not completely sure about when he's meant to be farming when he's meant to be joining the fights, which is especially strange for him because he's always been so good at that.
Exactly. I looked at as the fights kind of kicked off. I was like, right, where's the Ember Spirit? Where is he? And then as the fight ended, where's the Ember Spirit? I looked at side lanes, looked at top lane, bot lane, looked at jungle. He's walking towards the middle lane as the fight ends, and he realizes, hang on a second, I left the oven on. My glasses, like my keys, he's forgot something. He's not on the same page with the rest of his team right now. C9 though, they're on the same page as they smoke up the top. Shiki, you've got your Yule Scepter. It's not going to save you from Winter's Curse, and the damage output here from Cloud9. That's a good pickoff. Now that's what they need.
Yeah, aggressive made some early rotations, but he just didn't make any kills out of them, unfortunately. And I think it's a totally different story if he got 1 or 2 kills in his early rotations. Well, XZ is just introducing the enemy team to his Orchid.
Say hello, but has he put himself in a rough spot here? With
Level 4 heal
up, he's full health and he's still running away. Sproink! And in comes the rest of his team. Aggressive arrives with the chains out onto Braxis to try and TP, but it's not going to be quick enough. Snowball through, stunned up, locked down, and finished off as aggressive. He's on the hunt. He wants MSS. That's what he wants. With the Flame Guard down, though, damage output really is limited here. Until the impetus damage comes through with a sleight of fist. CDEC have taken full control of this game.
And something that most teams will not be used to playing against is an Enchantress which has early farm. So both in terms of having the treads and the Orchid, but also in terms of having those levels. Max start, the heal early on. This is actually a difficult hero to deal with. And if you look at Cloud9's lineup, normally the answer to Enchantress is either your core needs a BKB to attack through the untouchable, or you need burst damage in the magical form, and they don't have either. Cloud9 doesn't, they actually don't have a
Radiant's
an easy or natural answer to Enchantress at all.
Maybe this Storm Spirit once he gets into Bloodstone Orchid, but that's a fair distance away. Wyvern, easy pick off, even behind you tier 1. CDEC are not afraid to dive under this one. They're going to TP back to defend the tier 1 at bot, and this right here is something they were amazing at doing at TI5, is taking towers, trading, and then coming back to actually defend. Oh, they're not going to be able to. Taking too long up at top. Tier 1 bot will fall to the hands of Storm Spirit. It's getting closer and closer to his Bloodstone. As the Radiant Courier flies across deserts and disaster. Low HP somewhere.
You see, use Ancient Aberration also with the max Cold Feet build. I definitely like it with the changes. I think it makes sense, and it's the most common build we've seen recently. I've seen 1437 in particular mixing it up a little bit, going only 3 points and maxing the Vortex, but that, I mean, Cold Feet, I feel like has for a long time been the best skill in the hero, and the only thing keeping it back is precisely that it commits you to go close in. This is a hero that in every other way plays in a way that wants to stand far out. So yeah, making that change is actually really an enabling feature of the hero.
Spoke here from C9, and first couple it's like, okay, we're going to try and catch our breath, get a pick off, and look out for us, but this one feels more desperate. This is more like, hang on a second, they can take Roshan with max untouchable on this Enchantress. They can go into the Rush Pit and do damage to him. Take Ancients, push bot lane. We need to smoke and try and grasp what little map control we have left. But look at this, CDEC. They're being spotted out here. There's full vision of what's going on. And they want to try and find someone in the middle lane. 1437 is the bait. He's the one that's being hung out here. Wrapping around in the jungle isn't going to find you anything.
Haste for Shiki. If he just blows that haste and runs around, safe bet that he finds a kill and definitely won't die, but instead they're just going to farm out the enemy jungle. So a lot of games of cat and mouse going on. Again, so, I mean, there have been a few more outbursts of violence, but mostly it feels like similar mid games to the previous game where there's more posturing than actual fighting. And that's maybe to the credit of Cloud9, who recognized that CDEC really want to have a lot of fights at this stage in the game. So Cloud9 kind of taking the approach of either we fight on our own terms when we're smoke ganking you, or we just don't fight at all.
Very similar to game 1. Bait it out. Run as long as you can. Your Scepter, and now working into the... I'm assuming Aghanims here. I don't know if there's anything... There's nothing over on the Courier. Could be Bloodstone. Maybe to try and sort of match up with a Storm's Bloodstone. Self a good amount of stats. Give you that spam ability out on Lust Strike Ray and Dragon Slave, and also the rest of it that goes with the Bloodstone is pretty damn great on the Lina as well. Pop yourself back up to life pretty quickly. I was saying that they can go and take Roshan with Enchantress's max untouchable pretty early on. She's soloing it pretty early on.
She's taking pretty long though, actually deciding to go to the fight now.
Oh, zip away. 1437, sacrificial lamb, I think. Here, punch. Dead. Can't stop.
Oh, Shiki's got more.
Oh god, yeah, you're right. MLG has been found. Laguna Blade, Ice Blast. Yeah, 9 time. Lina already kills him off. I get the 2 supports. A lot of commitment there, though, from CDEC moving 5 to top.
Yeah, but I mean, it's worth it if they're gonna make 2 kills, and I feel like, even though it's much to the credit of Cloud9 that I think they've actually been moving around the map better than CDEC. They've had their number, they've had better vision, they've known how... Oh, mid lane, that's an attempt on the Ancient Apparition. Shiki's there, he might die too now.
And another kill. Oh, good Orchid. XZ comes in, and Ritsu's out of mana here. Brax can't go in onto the Lina. Ritsu, 1 Bloodstone charge up on his freshly purchased Bloodstone. Maybe considers going back in, but Brax is already dead. Good weave out there. Give a bit of vision and make sure that the advance from CDEC doesn't continue. But with Brax dead for 40 seconds, what is this going to be? Tier 2? Tier 2? Roshan? It's going to be an objective regardless from CDEC, it's just which one?
Yeah. What I wanted to say before is I sort of feel like Cloud9 having better map movements, but if every now and then they just throw away 2 or 3 heroes, it's actually not worth it, and CDEC keep getting ahead. And CDEC actually counting on exactly what you're talking about, Cloud9 expects an objective, and actually they just hang around, and now they're going to go for the kill on the Wyvern.
Burn. Oh, you're up on the cliff, but so's Garda. Look at that, he's found you. Gives the vision for the Laguna Blade, and the Garda TP's back to base. Now, Aggressive nearly has Battle Fury. Getting closer and closer.
I think that they're working on the assumption that Cloud9 think they're in rush, and they're just like, don't go to rush. And now we see the pings on rush. But they're still just not going there. I don't think they're in a huge rush to force it. And it's something I actually wrote about and spoke to a lot of people about during TI as well. Because CDEC had this like huge emphasis on always getting dire, but I never felt like it was like in the kind of direct and like cliched, obvious, oh, we just want rush advantage way. Like sure, rush is part of what they're thinking about, but it's not like every game they're just focused on getting rush as soon as possible. In a sense, it's more like just having control of that region of the map is enough for them, and then invading the enemy jungle and having the luxury to take it whenever they want.
I think that the enemy team can't have something as having it yourself. Look at that instant E-ward out from 1437. No, I know what's going on, Garda. Rob's ward is not welcome here, but down a ball lane. Back from MSS, we'll put him back to safety behind the tier 2. This is one of the things that we saw from, you know, previous series, previous games, where supports have, where supports have a decent amount of farm, or like one utility item, let's say.
Look at this wagon.
Where is it? Where are you going?
Enchantress converted a wagon.
No.
And scouting with this.
That's cheating. Cheating. But yeah, when support heroes, by like 20-25 minutes or so, have, you know, the basics, you know, arcanes, magic wand, and then one utility item, let's say the mech, the gunner cape, the force staff, something like that, I feel like they have a much better chance of just rolling through team fights. That one bit of utility can make or break team fights. See it over in the Radiant. They've got, what, the Darksaber with the utility items? There's what? There's an Earn medallion over on the Dazzle. It's the Storm?
That's a big roll.
He's found a Q! Ritsu now TPs himself away. He's going to be in time. No, Aggressive finds him, denies with the Bloodstone, and gets himself out of there. Not sure if that kill was worth 4 Bloodstone charges. Let's get himself a kill in gold.
It was pretty close though, and you can see what he's thinking, and they're definitely in a bad position. So if he can make those plays, and if he could get that pick off and then get out, that's pretty huge actually. But not quite getting it, and maybe he should know better, just because CDC is a team that plays quite close to each other most of the time. It's maybe a bit unusual, I think, if you're Cloud9 used to the American scene, the Western scene. In the Western scene, when teams are this far ahead, they're not likely to just be bunched up, like, farming one place. They're more likely to go into small groups, go for smoke ganks, split up and farm, get a lot of value. And so you think, oh, I'm going to pick someone off, and then actually it turns out his whole team's there, because CDC actually group up a lot even when they're off far ahead.
Look at Upsol's Roshan with it. Now, Ritsu has made his way up to 3rd on the net worth board, and soon to be 2nd. And then maybe soon to be 1st. He's gone from being level 2 at 4 minutes 40 seconds, being, what, 7th or 8th on the net worth board, and now he's just racing and racing and racing, and he does lose a hero behind him. So a little Dazzle dies to XZ and Garda jumping in with the Orchid Snowball, but get Brax and Ritsu out of there safely. They defend towers. At high ground, they've got Vacuum Wall, they've got Vacuum Winter's Curse. We've got some very good high ground defensive capability here, I think, and something that CDC have to be incredibly wary of. When they're pushing into towers, into choke points, and to tier 3s, they have to know for certain that they're not going to get all caught.
If Ritsu somehow manages to carry this game for his team, he really is the future. I will agree, because I just think that C9 are just not kitted out to fight. They're just the matchups. It's not necessarily that they're outdrafted, it's the way things worked out, they're outdrafted. Maybe they were outdrafted because of the Enchantress pick that really threw them off. I don't think they anticipated it at all. But just looking at what they have to deal with, like, not easy for them to shut down Ember Spirits. It's almost impossible to kill Enchantress. How do you kill Lina before she gets a Laguna Blade on someone? They just don't have the tools to do these things. At best, Dragon Knights or Wyvern are going to catch one person with initiation, and hopefully they can kill that person before they do anything, but even that seems very unlikely to me, and actually check this aggressive after Battle Free going straight into Skadi, because he recognizes this. There's so little burst potential on the enemy team that unless you get isolated, if you take fights as a team, it's immensely difficult to see a CDC losing a fight.
Yeah, even if you get Dragon Tails and Winter's Cursed, having a Lincoln Sphere here is going to stop you getting disabled, but yeah, I'm with you on that. The damage probably just isn't there. Maybe, though, with this Orchid coming out very quickly from Ritsu, things change a little bit, because a Silenced Ember Spirit is a useless one. with no Manta Style, with no Lincolns, nothing to save him. You know, you can snowball. But what else? Heal, Glimmer. Really isn't that much to keep him alive through an Orchid hit. Storm. Ritsu going for a little of aggression there. Dazzle. Dazzle, 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 dazzle. Dead.
This is I mean, that's either just a mistake or it's some kind of space creation, like clowny shits where it's you know, like I'm the least important hero. I'll go to the most obvious place for them to kill me, and you guys get some space for a while.
Yeah, gave a wave to Brax, and it gives Storm a little bit of alone time with aggressive. Storm and Ember Spirit both battling it out together. Brax gonna TP away. SVG, I think he's gonna do the same. Oh god, he wants more hits on the tower. You cannot kill this tower. You can't TP as well. The TP's too long.
Radiant's bottom tower has been denied.
And Q is like, guys, there's a kill here.
That's
someone.
an error.
Yeah, that was definitely a mistake. Also, just noticed God has Guardian Greaves. It feels like a matter of time to me. CDC, this is another thing I feel like they were experts at the international, is getting the early lead with aggression, but then pacing themselves. Oh, mid lane. What? The counter initiate. Shiki's gonna go down.
GT with Aegis.
Got the edges. He jumped in trying to kill Ritsu, but
Brax already vacuum back, and Shiki's dead. Not gonna be able to last through that one, and they again had nothing really to save him. Brax gets hit, but Surge Shuffle self away as aggressive misses the slight chains. Oh, Ritsu, he wanted in. He got that Orchid now. Yeah, he does. 7+ stun charges, Orchid at the ready, and he's very, very ready to pull the trigger here.
it's a blunder from Shiki. Didn't send to try solo kill Storm, and again, maybe the same way that Ritsu was surprised on the other side of the map, surprised that the enemy team was covering him. But I mean, it was over here. Like, where do you think Cloud9 are?
They've been playing, they've been aggressively pushing side lanes, you know, baiting people into situations where they get a cheap kill on a cheap target, and then gaining value elsewhere, you know, farming enemy jungle, farming up at top lane, pushing into tier 2s.
That's true.
I think there's some sense behind going for that cheeky, hey look, there's a storm, let's piss him off a little bit more. Let's shake the hornet's nest here.
3-man smoke the mid lane,
Now
and
he's dead. Now he's dead. Bloodstone Suicide is all he's got. If he can get it off, I think he misclicked.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to TP out, should he? He definitely, I mean, the fact that he got to start this game means he could have suicided.
I'm certain that he misclicked. He the Bloodstone ground targeted the TP. Well, Storm Spirit. He's only dead for 30 seconds, but that's a nice juicy kill that CDEC blows up. Top tier 2 looks with aggressive pushing up hard. Tier on the creep wave. Body, he's getting closer and closer. What have they got? They've got Orb of Venom, they've got an Aghanim Scepter on your Enchantress, you got a Staff of Wizardry for Q. Picked up is Aghanim Scepter's 500 gold away. And aggressive basically has got it done, so they've got all these big old items. Cloud9 don't have any response to.
Top tower is under attack.
I did not expect CDEC to get caught out by the 5-man Darkseer Wyvern combo, but it feels like that's what's needed here. Cloud9.
Look at that spread, honestly. Hero, 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 hero. There is no way to get more than 2 people caught. If that. It's hard to get 2 people caught, is what I'm saying. Like, Brax jumps in, back, oh, there we go, vacuum back's good, but there's no curse. There's nothing yet from SVG. He's gonna wait and hold on to it as XZ will turn around and now batter into Garda, but he's already dead. Darkseer's gone and Brax punched Laguna Bladed and he's gone as well. Buyback available on him, but where's the bloody Storm Spirit? Back and forth, SVG heals himself up, but Ritsu, he's got no HP left. Suicides doesn't have buyback, and the snowball will chase down the last remaining target as Dazzle drops to his knees, falls to the grave, and SVG survived. But in the long run, CDEC just cruised through that fight.
And Darkseer got 3. He actually did get 3, which is like pretty incredible, all things considered. And CDC still just cruised through the fight, and that's just at that point you have to wonder what is it actually going to take. What is Cloud9's route into this game? It feels almost academic, and I said at a certain point last game, and I think I'll probably say again, we're nearing the point where Cloud9 are discussing what to do next game.
Yeah. You're asking what do they do, and at this point, it's very close to the to the shift enter GG. Call it. They'll hold on to their racks. CDEC, ever patient.
Q's actually got himself that Aghanim Scepter. It's something interesting. It's quite rare that you see Chinese Ancient Apparitions go for the Midas. It does, in this game, I feel like he actually probably could have, and he would have had a much faster Ags, but it's that security of just making sure that everyone's getting progression, no one's being too greedy. And despite that, despite not getting the Midas, he gets the Ags at, like, not a bad time, to be honest, as the 5 position hero on his team. And it's maybe seals the deal, I think, next fight, because decent AA ulti with Ags is like, so much can go wrong and your team's still going to win the fight because of how far ahead you are. And this looks like the Hail Mary, like, all-in last attempt from Cloud9 to me.
If Roshan's up, they're taking it. But if not, we'll find them. Brax, oh god, he walks in, chains, punch. Yep, this looks like it might be it for C9 as Storm zips into the back, finds Garner with a vacuum wall curse. They've got it! They've got the combo that needed. CDC being ripped apart with a wave as well. Q and Shiki, they're being crushed. But Cloud9 have lost their 2 cores. They've got no damage left. They've only got supports. Their big combo, it worked. But they didn't have the damage on top.
Never had the damage. It's just, I mean, if you think about how their combo works, it's not really a lot of AoE damage, it's AoE control. And Dragonite could do the damage if he had a lot of items. Storm actually can't really. Storm's got single target damage. So it's actually, at that point, if, you know, Dragonite has 2 more items, maybe makes it good. But Dragonite's the first one who goes down there anyway. He's the one that got targeted, he's the one who had the AoE ulti on him. He got Grave, but he was definitely going to die as soon as the Grave ran out.
Aggressive just runs down the middle lane. He doesn't care. Moves up the top. Pushes this out. He's pushing 2 lanes single-handedly here. You know, Roshan is still alive. Dark Courier is running around with a Chrysalis for him, and there's a DD rune up top. Aggressive's gonna be a happy chappy. Picking up DD runes, scouts it out with a Courier as well. He knows exactly what's going on. Ritsu, 3 Bloodstone charges up on you. So, it's all difficult. It's all so difficult. Aggressive is now pretty stacked. 18,000 net worth. At one point, Storm was, you know, closing the gap, getting there, almost reaching second and first place. But now, Storm, force he once was.
I wonder.
We're going to Roche.
I wonder if Cloud9, instead of thinking in the kind of defeatist way we've been thinking, maybe they're thinking signs of life in those last fights. There's things that can go right. Maybe they're thinking if we get that vacuum into Wyvern ulti before the enemy team's done anything, we could win the fight. Because that might be possible, maybe. But that's really a lot to ask for the enemy team to be bunched up for you before they've actually done anything to you.
I think also look at it like I think a common thing in these situations where you've got good high ground defensive capabilities, to get yourself into a mindset like they can't break high ground. They can't break high ground because CDEC, even with a big advantage, even with, you know, Aegis and Cheese, which of these heroes is a high ground breaking hero? From low ground to high ground, without a fight to start off with, without C9 heroes walking outside the base to get picked off, is Enchantress the hero that walks up?
She's got pretty long range. She doesn't actually have to walk up. And I guess since there's no tower at the top lane, they're just actually going to stroll in with that DD rune.
Oh, they still have the DD.
There's no creeps here though, are there? They had creeps recently enough.
Lane creeps walk through. Cloud9, good defensive position. Themselves ready. Shiki, BKB.
That's what they were waiting for. BKB and Aegis on Shiki, they surely commit to this Rax now.
Shiki goes up onto the high ground. He's the guy. He's the dude. He's the bro. Walks up, hits it a couple of times, and blink back out. Storm? Ritsu? He got in. Ball lightning's forward as a vacuum all into the snowball. They don't catch him, and now the Winter's Curse is going to come through, but who's it going to go on to? They don't find a good target, and with Ritsu actually silenced up and absolutely ravaged there by XZ. They've got this in the back. No buyback on your Storm. Yeah, Winter's Curse. Pointless.
They saw Ember Spirits TP up, and I guess they figured here's our window if there ever was one, but obviously just had a remnants and jump back in really quickly.
Oh. That draws things up. Things have become a little bit spicy. Cloud9, they lose game number 2, but CDEC is back into the series. 1 apiece now in this best of 3. We'll be back 12 minutes with game number 3, the decider. Later on, after this one, we'll have the actually we'll have a little bit of a break. I think it's a half-an-hour dinner break for the players this series, and then into the losers match. The losers of the old bracket, of the old group stages. But yeah, we'll be back after a short break, guys. Game number 3 coming.